Hi guys, and welcome back to the Hot Seat. I am your host Priscilla Moy, and we are live in studio here at Social Media Shows. Our next performer is absolutely amazing and very, very, very talented and extremely beautiful. She is a dancer, a performer, and she also was on America's Got Talent. So I can't wait to introduce you guys to her and hear her story. So everyone, please welcome Michelle Olson. Hi, thank you so much for coming. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you for having me.
Have a seat. Love the nails, love the
Thank
hair,
you.
the whole thing.
Thank you.
So you have an impressive resume.
Thank you.
You literally sent your whole resume, and I loved it because that's kind of how mine is formatted. Is I can tell you are more on the theater side, performance stage side, and you're from LA, right? And you trained at UCLA.
Yes, I did train at UCLA. Yeah, I went to college at UCLA. I double majored in dance and anthropology. So I went in with the dance major, and then I was like, you know what? I want to add something else.
Yeah.
So a lot of dance majors actually do a double. So I decided to add anthro as my second one, and I absolutely loved the program. I'm such a true Bruin pride person, but I absolutely love UCLA, and I love the training that I got too, and I was able to make some connections too that kind of led me into post-grad work and things like that.
And that's the most important thing, because once you graduate, you're kind of thrown
into
like, the world, like, now what, you know? So how long have you been dancing for?
I started when I was 3,
and
I did the whole, studio route, so 3 to 18, and I did the traditional, jazz, ballet, tap, modern hip-hop, all the things. And then from there, just went to UCLA, so my training was just primarily through the program there. After graduating, I still took class a little bit. I joined a dance company, and I was teaching a lot and just working in LA. And in 2020 is when I moved here to, pursue, a further career in arts and entertainment.
So you went to school for dance. I also have a minor in dance as well.
Yeah,
so I can connect. It's very rigorous, right? Your whole life is just basically you're an athlete. So what was your goal normally to continue training and get that college degree in it? Do you have a dream of maybe doing, perform with artists? Did you want to do your own dance company? What was really your goal that you had?
My goal growing up was definitely UCLA was my goal for the longest time because a bunch of my dance teachers, they are UCLA alumni and they did the whole dance program, and I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. And then as I was at UCLA, I was definitely looking to see kind of where I felt like my strengths and skills fell, whether it was commercial dance, more concert dance, and I felt like I was kind of in the middle, neither. So I was really thankful to kind of find a dance company where I was able to join and feel like I was creating my own lane a little bit under really, really great guidance. And it was kind of in between. I felt like we just did very unique things. So it wasn't necessarily commercial, which I still love. I still think that's awesome. And it wasn't necessarily concert dance, which I also love. So it was a great kind of happy medium for me. So I'm really happy that I found that. Yeah.
And so what was your first big job post-grad that you were like, oh my gosh, this is it?
Post-grad. I was super, super lucky. I actually was able to perform at Halloween Horror Nights in Universal Orlando for a span of 3 months. And we did 5 shows a night, 4 to 5 shows a night, and the seats were filled every single night with new people, and also recurring visitors to the park too, because it's such a culture. I feel like the HHN culture, it's super big out in Florida especially. So we would have people that would go every single day to the park, and they would just sit in the audience and see all 5 shows, and that's what they would do the whole night. So that was I'm so grateful for that experience. It was life-changing. And our final show, we had all the people cheering in the audience, and we were just bawling on stage, and people have signs up, and we all had our own sort of character names too that we were in the show, and people would make drawings and art pieces and give them to us as gifts and things like that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I've never experienced anything like that before.
To feel the support from audience members really kind of gives you adrenaline,
yes.
right? And you kind of feel like, oh my God, they actually enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's rehearse, you do the same show, and you're like, all right, like, to us it's the same thing, but to actually see people, like, literally you're taking it in, kind of gives you this, like, wait, this is why I like what I do.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, like, you never know who's in the audience, and you never know whose parts you're going to touch, you know? And yeah, as you were saying, like, yeah, it's the same show, we're doing the same choreo, but to them, they're seeing it for the first time, maybe, or if they've seen it for the 20th time, but there's something that, you know, hopefully that we're doing that can inspire them. And that's kind of like my goal as an artist, as a performer, is just if I can inspire somebody, then that's really like all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah. Now, you were also on America's Got Talent. Was it season 13?
I think so. Yeah. It was.
And you're with a dance troupe. I don't know, forgive me if I got it wrong. It's Academy of Villains, something like that. Okay, great. Yeah. So what was that like? What was that journey like?
Yeah, I think that was my first TV experience. I believe so. Yeah, it was super cool. It was really cool to see kind of like the behind the scenes of everything and just like the whole process, because I've always been super also intrigued by behind the scenes work too, and just like how things, you know, go. And obviously I've seen the show before, so yeah, it was a super cool experience. And yeah, we got to do some interviews behind the scenes, and then we performed. I forget if it was like once or twice. I forget. I feel like it was so long that I can't remember. But yeah, it was super cool. It's definitely different to be on stage knowing that, you know, the whole world is going to see you. Right. But yeah, it was a super cool experience. So another thing that I'm super grateful for.
Judging panel.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like, if that's not already nervous, you got like 20 cameras right here. And, you know, that's amazing, though.
Thank you.
It's a good thing to say, like, hey, I did it. I know that experience.
Yeah, I did it. I had that experience. Yeah, super cool.
Right. Yeah. So with Vegas, I know, like, we're big on live entertainment. Is that something that drew you here, or was there something else that drew you to Vegas? That really made
it was. So my directors actually had moved here in 2019, and my goal was kind of to eventually make my way out here, maybe in like 5 to 7 year span. COVID happened, and then a bunch of things just kind of got turned around. Right. So I decided to make the move to Vegas, and they are working underneath an entertainment production company called Ghostlight Odyssey, and I am super lucky to have been brought on board with that as well. And yeah, the company is great. They started in like 2020, basically like a COVID business. Yeah. So a new entertainment production company here in Vegas, and we combine like basically everything you can name it. So it's like circus, dance, comedy, crowd interaction, just like literally anything that you've seen in a live show in one. And our goal is to get a residency on the Strip. So that's what we're working towards now, to kind of just find a new edge on the Strip and give people a little bit of a different energy. Yeah, kind of combining all the things they've already seen, but like in a troupe where everyone is doing something new to those different things. Yes. Because that's my next question is, if you ever performed in a residency or a part of a cast that has some sort of residency on the Strip, but that explains it. Yeah. In the future, yes. Yes. Like, I'm going to manifest it right now. It already is. Yes. It's already happening. Because you also, when people visit your social media, you know, you have a lot of dance companies listed. Do you teach there? Do you just take class there? Are you part of a dance company within those dance companies? You know what I mean? Yeah. So back in LA, I was teaching at a bunch of different, just like schools and studios. That's also what I've been doing here. And I've also been doing some like Zoom classes too, for people who we started in COVID when people, you know, couldn't leave their homes. So we started a program. It's also called the Virtual Movement Academy, where basically anybody around the world who wants to train with us, they can kind of join via Zoom and then get really, really good training in the comfort of their own home. Yeah. So that's another avenue of teaching that I'm still doing now. Because I feel like it's very nerve-wracking, and I can only imagine, because like when you're training in school and you have the same people you train with, you lose the nervousness of trying to, you know, not look like the weakest link, right? So I feel like a lot of people, especially if they're new, whatever level they are, it's very intimidating to walk into a dance studio and there's all these people, and a lot of them are like, I've been doing ballet since I was like 2, and like I'm a prima ballerina, and then you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing, you know? I feel like that makes them a little more comfortable and could be more susceptible to hearing and learning what you're trying to teach. Right? It's a more relaxed learning environment, and I think it opens doors for more people to find dance a little bit more appealing. Yeah, rather than, you know, maybe stepping into the studio and feeling like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. No one wants to feel, you know, uncomfortable or nervous in that way. So, yeah, I'm really glad that Zoom has become such a platform, not just for dance, but for so many people to be able to meet online and still do all the things that they want to do.
They don't have to fly across the world to meet someone. You can literally do it that way.
Just over Zoom.
Now, you also are a yogi, and you also have experience with pole dancing, right?
Yes.
Like, which is a sport. Like, I don't mean it like that, but like it's very impressive.
Yeah. Thank you.
I see a lot of, you know, pole dancers that, like, it's incredible what they do, right? Like, the strength is, like, that takes it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing all this? Was that kind of combined into your dance training as well, or?
A little bit. So for my yoga training, it was always something that really intrigued me. I started yoga probably in high school because I want to get more flexible, because I was never the most, like, flexible dancer. I was like, some of my dance friends are trying this out, so I was like, okay, let me try it. So I used to go to Power Yoga in Santa Monica, like, all the time during high school, and that was my first, like, introduction. And then from there I was like, I just want to get my teacher training. So I did a 200-hour program and a 300-hour program back in LA. So I'm 500 hours certified for yoga, and now I'm also teaching at Yoga 6 Mountain's Edge. It's like southwest corner of Vegas. So I did another training through their program to be certified to teach their formats. And it's always been something that I really enjoyed. It was a nice way to cross-train, I feel like, with dance and stretching in a parallel way. Yeah, which is, you don't usually do that in dance. So, yeah, I love it. Yoga has changed my life, and I take a lot of what I've learned from my training and kind of implement it in dance or just in my daily life in regards to, like, the meditative aspect, like always being conscious of your breath and knowing, like, you know, in stressful situations, how do you react to that? Do you freak out? Do you panic? Do you make things worse? Or do you breathe? Do you stay focused? Do you find solutions? Things like that. So that's yoga for me. For pole is just something that I've also wanted to do, so I just kind of took it on as a hobby. I just do it for fun, but I go to Pole Fitness Studio here, and I usually take Jenny's class and Brenda's class, for anyone watching. But yeah, it's super fun. It is. I totally have more respect for those, you know, professional pole dancers, pole artists, after doing it, because it's so hard, but it's addicting because every time I go, I'm like, I feel like I'm getting a little bit stronger. Like every class, I'm like, okay, I do something a little bit better, and that's my goal. But yeah, when I first started, like, I was so bruised. Like, I didn't even realize that that's even a thing. But yeah, and then my teacher was like, your nerve endings they'll start to go, like, numb or something like that, so that you actually won't be in as much pain anymore. And I was like, well, that's crazy, but the body adjusts super fast.
It's also your athleticism too, right? And that you have this in your mindset where, like, you don't stop just because you can't do it. And you're like, I want to push your body a little bit more, because as a dancer doing all those different styles of dance, you need to have a different set of skills. Like tap and ballet are, like, complete opposites. You know? So for you, I feel like you already have that mindset where you're like, okay, I'm not just going to give up at one class. Like, I know I'm an athlete. What do you mean? Like, there's something, I got it. I got this. You know what I mean? But that, fantastic. I've always wanted to try it, but I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, you should.
It's that requires a new sort of strength.
It's tough, for sure. But it is addicting.
Yeah, but it's fulfilling, I'm sure.
It's
when you
so
can do something, you're like, wait.
Wait,
I did that though. Right?
Yeah, and I look at past footage, like, I made it a point to film, like, my first class ever, and I could barely do anything. And now looking back, I'm like, whoa, like, it's crazy. The body, like, adapts with consistency, like, because my hands used to sweat so much too, and I was like, I can't even stay up here for, like,
you're just
more than 15 seconds. But now I don't have to use, like, the grip as much, and I can, you know, do more tricks for longer. So it's crazy.
You can add it to your residency.
Just throw it in there, just like a little feature. Yeah.
So I know a big thing with a lot of dancers and performers is they like to sign with agencies. Like the block agency is a big one, NTA with dancers. Have you ever had experience with agencies?
I actually interned for an agency, so, but I never had auditioned for one because I was able to join the dance company back in LA pretty quickly, or actually I ended up going there when I was still in college. So by the time I graduated, I was pretty invested in that. So I didn't necessarily feel the need to audition for an agency at the time. It was definitely something that I wanted to do growing up because I heard through the grapevine that's like the way to go.
That's the way, yeah.
Which is totally awesome. I have nothing against that. I was fortunate enough to kind of find a space where my directors kind of played that agency role a little bit, which was super awesome because that's kind of like unheard of. So they were able to, send their dancers out on specific jobs, and I just ended up doing all that and just didn't get around to auditioning for
because your journey is a little different. Yeah, my question to you, because everyone has a different thought when it comes to agencies and how it works for them. So you kind of answered my question and how you think that your experiences with agencies and whether there be nepotism, there be, whether certain jobs you feel like have been withheld. Have you ever had a certain struggle that you yourself were like trying to always defeat when you're trying to work and be seen as a professional?
I would say, honestly, I feel like my biggest challenges were just the ones that I put on myself, because I always would, whether it's taking class or at an audition, like I would always look at who's the best in the room. How can I be better than them? Or what do I have to do that? And I've always been super hard on myself. So I think, honestly, overcoming those mental blocks was really like the biggest challenge for me, which, everyone has them, and occasionally here and there I still have to work through that too. But that, I would say, honestly, would be the biggest challenge for me. In the past, working through the mental blocks and not getting so in your head with things, because sometimes it's easy to do that, especially in a competitive world or at an audition. It's like, oh, I don't look like that. Is that what they're looking for, and things like that, and then it just spirals. So just the mental game. I think dance is like 70% mental, 30% physical.
I mean, that goes for all arts. It's always a visual too. Like sometimes when you walk in a room, they don't even see anything else. They already have in the mind of what they want. Do you think dance has become more inclusive when it comes to people that they choose and cast, etc.? Because I know dance has its own stigma of visually what is the perfect dancer, especially when it comes to ballet, when it comes to body type, the perfect turnout, all that stuff.
For sure.
How do you think it's been molding?
I think it's a lot more inclusive now. Even like just videos that I'm seeing of people being booked for different tours, like even like my friends from, college being booked for tours and things like that. I do feel that I'm seeing a more diverse cast for whether it's shows or tours or just any kind of performance, TV, things like that. So I do think it has become more inclusive, which is awesome. I think that's great. And I think dance is also being put a little bit more at the forefront. Whereas before it's always been like, okay, artist, and then the dancers are back here. But I think because of so much dance that's been seen on TV within the past maybe like 10 years, I think dance people want to see it a little bit more, which is cool. Because
you notice now when there's performances, like
it's almost always
like there's always art, but then there's like they're surrounded. They make the scene. They make the stage. They without them, you can see it's empty. It would just be like one person. So now that you're kind of new to Vegas and you're starting this residency, what mark are you trying to leave in the performance industry here?
So our goal as a company is to bring something entirely new to the Strip, and something that is also super unique is that within our company we kind of pull the best people in their fields. We kind of like scout and see, who can we bring on board? And I think something that's super, super unique is that our artistic directors and our creative team, they create original acts for soloists that we bring on board. Whereas for other companies, and again, no disrespect to any of that, but usually you're filling someone else's role. If it's a show that was created 20 years ago, they have, a set number of casts. When this person leaves, they put in someone else to fill in and learn their role, which is totally fine. That's usually how it goes 99% of the time. What's super great about our company is that our creative team is so creative that they create original acts. So for example, one of our soloists, he's he calls himself a pyromancer, I believe is the correct term, but basically he blows fire.
Yeah.
So our artistic director, he created an original act where he has this like candelabra, and as he's doing all these fire tricks, he basically starts to light each candle.
Wow.
Yeah, so at the end of the act, like everything is lit and it's super, super pretty. So things like that have never really been seen before, and he caters it specifically to that person.
Yeah.
So they enjoy it more and they're more invested because they feel like it's them.
It's theirs.
Yeah,
and it
it's
also
theirs.
belongs to them. He can't be replaced.
Yeah.
Because even if someone else that did a lot of, stuff with fire were to come in, the show would change. Like,
it would be a different dynamic. Yeah.
And I love that because I feel like this kind of is the legacy you're trying to build, right? You want to be seen as a unique artist. I think a lot of performers that come here go into shows that have already been a thing for decades, right? And they're just one of many people instead of being seen as an individual, right? And I think that you value your individuality a lot. Yeah,
and I think our directors and our creative team and just the company in general, it's always about highlighting the individual. How can we make them look as best as they can and highlight what they're good at and what they like and things like that. Yeah.
So my final question to you is what you probably heard when you're seeing out there. I ask this of all of my guests. And is there a philosophy that you live by?
Philosophy that I live by. I have a few. I would say one would be always do better than you were yesterday. Always learn from your mistakes. Every person you meet is a teacher to you, whether you like them or not. There's always something to learn from them, and every day I aim to do better than I did yesterday, whether it's from a more creative aspect, whether it's just my interactions with people, whether it's how I manage my time, like how can I always make myself better? And if you do that every single day, eventually things will accumulate and there will be, steady growth. So I think that's something that I always have in the back of my mind when I wake up, like, okay, how can I be better today than I was yesterday?
That's amazing, because I feel like that's you in your whole story.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
My favorite thing about asking that question is the answer really just sums up everything that everyone always says about their whole thing, right? Because you even mentioned it before when it comes to something like pole. Like, you're like, okay, next class, I'm going to do better, right? And you love seeing that and kind of being self-aware of watching your own progress. Even if, you've been dancing for so long, even if today you did the choreo better than yesterday, you're like, oh my God, yes. Like, you have some sort of pride in what you do, which a lot of people don't and they want to have because it's, it's in confidence and like, they're scared of how people view their talent, etc. So I'm glad that you have all this already.
Thank you.
I think it's the training at school, the performance training at school really sets you up to be prepared 24/7. So where can people find you? Where can they find your company? What are the handles?
So our website is ghostlightodyssey.com. Our Instagram is @ghostlightodyssey. Our TikTok is also @ghostlightodyssey, and we have 3 accounts, so follow all of them if you can. For my personal information, my Instagram is Michelle N. Olson. I don't have a TikTok. I don't have a personal TikTok. But you can find me on Instagram.
Instagram's always, that's my favorite one. TikTok I have not. I try, it's just not my thing.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and it's different niche, and it's
totally.
Well, amazing. We want to stay updated with you, and if you guys get your residency, your performances, we love to promote on here.
Thank you
so
much.
we'd love to have you back. I'm sure Maria would as well, and we can, maybe one day have you perform something here. That would be absolutely amazing. You can bring some of your company in. I think that would be a great time to solely focus on the company when it comes to what you guys are really trying to put out and what the progress is and things like that. So
thank you so much.
Please reach out to her if you have any inquiries, questions, if you want to maybe, I don't know if you guys hold auditions for your company, because they do scout, so like hint, if you do, this does sound appealing to you, this is on your realm, please reach out to Michelle and I'm sure she will give you all the deets on that. But thank you so much for coming. We love your energy here. When we come back, we're not done talking, so I'll see you after the break.